history of Raimat comes from the Codogno family, the Raventos family, who have been making carvers in Spain since 1551. And in the early 20th century, 1914, Manuel Raventos sought out this land, about 3,000 hectares, in just north of Lleida, in a town called Raimat. All there was there at that stage was a castle and basically desert around that region. And from there he knew and helped bring down the water from the Pyrenees. So the water from the Pyrenees is what opened up that area. So now there's, other than Raimat vineyards, which there's 2,500 hectares of vineyards through there supplying the Raimat winery, there's also lots of fruit and other sort of citrus that this water has brought in. So in the early 20th century, about 1914, they started setting up the vineyards. And these vineyards were primarily to deliver fruit, Chardonnay and Pinot and Chirao Macabo, some of the classic Spanish Cava grape varieties, to the Codogno winery in Saint Soderini. Then in the early 70s, they decided to start making some still wine, and that's where Raimat was really born. There was a winery there, obviously from the early 20th century, 1914, 1915, which is quite a classical architectural building. And then in 1988, they built a new winery as well. So between early 70s, they started making the still wines at Raimat, and that's where the Raimat brand started growing from. Raimat's always been seen as an innovative winery, a company doing new things in Spain, one through the varieties, but also the styles they were producing as well. I think innovation, it's always been something about the company and Raimat. They've always been trying to strive and go forward and see where the boundaries are and try and move in a forward-thinking direction. They've always wanted to be ahead of the game. They've always wanted to try something different and to show that not only what Spain can do, but what Costes del Segre can do and what they can do as themselves. So yes, technology in the winemaking. But there's also a balance between technology and style and flair of the winemakers, but attention to detail and all that. So, you know, the winemakers at Raimat, Miguel Gourbidet and now myself, we've been given the opportunity with the technology that's there, and they've delivered that. This is where the vineyards are very important. The vineyard guys do a fantastic job. You know, there's very large hectares, 2,500 hectares of vineyards at Raimat. And these guys have got great control over the vineyards. They've got satellite imagery, they've got flyover technology looking at growth, looking at water potential. Everything there is irrigated, so they need to control the amount of water that goes on the vineyards at the correct time to get the right fruit styles. They understand where the best fruit is grown in different areas around there. And it's all sustainable agriculture. They're working very much with the environment. Tastes generally change, whether it's food or wine or cars or whatever. There is a change over time in styles of wine. And we do need to be ahead of the game. In our very top wines, they're sort of our personal touch, that we will continue doing what we think is right and produce wines that we think are showing our personality, vineyard personalities and that. But in general, what we need to follow what the consumer is wanting to drink. The Abadía Crianza, or the Cabernet Sauvignon. Well, in this way, these are fruity, spicy, rich, lots of warmth coming out from the fruit and the grapes. They go well with big, deep stews and meats like that on warm nights, or cold nights. You're sitting trying to warm up and get it all in. So. You know, that fruit and spice, they give you a warmth and they give you a glow. They're great wines that way. There's lots of flavour, there's fullness in the mouth, there's everything sort of black currant, fruit characters and nice sweet, spicy oak flavours and nice tannins and length. So again, you can drink it by itself when you're sitting around the fire, or it goes really well with those big meaty dishes and things like that. The Aberdeen is the mainstay basically for Raimat. It's been sold since the beginning, the inception of Raimat. It's a blend of Cabernet, Merlot and Tempranillo. It shows off the regionality of each of those varieties. It's got the depth and the length of the Cabernet. It's got the sweetness and spice of the Tempranillo. And the Merlot adds quite a nice plumminess in the middle. So you're getting all those different characters coming into the same wine. So it's a great, even, sweet fruit drink, but with nice structure and tannin. So it fits in everywhere. But yes, no, it's been a mainstay for Raimat for many years. It works well. Then with the Chardonnay itself, because we've got so many hectares of Chardonnay, we can select and move around between the different zones and different flavours and different characters. We actually pick the Chardonnay at different potential alcohol levels, between 12, 13 and 14 and a half. And the 12s give you lemon, lime, that more citrus, which a lot of those sort of Chardonnays go into this. The idea of both these wines is just to show off the regional characters of the fruit, but also give the consumer something that's got interest and flavour, but brightness, and they want to go back for a second glass. Great value for money. Sparkling wines from Spain are fantastic at any time of year. They're a lovely drink, sparkling wines, to have the fresh fruit of the Chardonnay coming through, but also those lovely fine bubbles that are always an experience. You always feel good after drinking something with bubbles in. And the sparkling wines from Spain and Raimat are no exception. And this style does show off the Chardonnay fruit. And they've got lovely bright colour. The sparkling wines are really previously I only drunk sparkling wines on festive occasions or Christmas or those sort of things, but now we drink them all the time. It's just an aperitif, or when you're wanting a drink of wine, because they're affordable, they're great drinks, they're fresh and bright. You can drink them by yourselves, aperitif. They go well with desserts, ice creams and things like that. People drink them a lot in Spain with tapas, and that goes with different, very spicy tapas and very simple tapas, the whole range, because it cuts through all the oiliness and flavours that come through. Or, any of the seafood and things like that as well. And in summer, sitting out having a few prawns or mussels or oysters or whatever, having some sparkling wine is always fantastic. So it's a drink for all occasions, I think, sparkling wine. And the Raimat sparkling wine with the very varietal sort of fruit coming through and that extra bit of acidity and length really works well with all these different foods. To the Finnish people, I hope you enjoy the Raimat wines. Good luck.